Alrighty then, welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is about that time again. We are going to cover some really cool topics here tonight. We're going to answer some questions specifically from one of our members that put in a nice screenshot showing one of the trades that they had a question around, and I think it's got a lot of good stuff you guys are going to learn from. We're going to cover several of those topics as we go into this here tonight, and of course, make sure you're following us over here on our social media, especially here on Instagram, having a lot of fun right here. And if you want to learn how we earn, right here on our Discord channel chat, and there's a start here section on the left-hand side if you want to get into that, because of course, we're not covering everything here tonight and what we do and how we do what we do. But again, thanks for hanging out here with us here this evening. As always, make sure that you know that, look, folks, trading is risky, so make sure you understand that before you are getting into it. But if you want to get into it, this is probably the place for you. We are the #1 largest futures trade room in the world by a very, very long shot. Join 33,000 other amazing members right over there in our Discord channel chat. And let's start out with the first things here. Let's talk about one of those scammers. We got to get this out of the way. We are still waiting on ICT to pony up that $3 million so I can get that out to my charity, because we have absolutely destroyed him in the competition as we were running. Now, he keeps talking about the Robins and everything, and I already said I will join into the Robins. We went and applied for the Robins, got all set up, but just remembering that this guy keeps coming out there telling you got to go get up on the leaderboard on the Robins in order for him to join. Which, who says that? Who says, hey, start into a contest before I start and then I'm going to join in later so that he can have an excuse why he didn't win? That doesn't cut it. But even if that were to be, first of all, we've already proven before. Tom Dante has already called him out on this before. He got on the leaderboard and then he said, ICT, let's go. And ICT did not join. So folks, do not believe anything ICT says, but of course, I doubt he's ever going to pony up this $3 million, because come to find out, when we sent our private investigators to his place to find out where he lives, folks, he doesn't have $3 million, and his two sons live in trailer parks right down the street from him, and his dad does too. No offense to them, I'm just saying that this guy who you guys believe in is a fraud and a con man. But just in case he comes up with $3 million, we'd like to donate that to our charity of choice. So make sure that you guys give him a hard time and get him to pony up, because we're up $40,000 in the competition where he's out there trading a live account. Supposedly he's got $5,000 he made. Paper, we already caught him trading paper. What is it with these scammers? They can't do it. They cannot do it. We caught him trading paper again, and then he's claiming it's live. Folks, you guys are being defrauded by ICT, and that's enough about that. Stop drinking the ICT poison. Let's talk about this beautiful trade right here going in. Now, one of our members actually asked, hey, is this a valid setup? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, of course it is. But I think he had some questions around, well, it was against a few things. He was, let me move this over to the right because I think it's cutting off the MACV part that he was talking about. So right down here, he had a good point. He was concerned. He said, well, the MACV was green. Okay, now I want to talk about this because a lot of folks have some questions around how to use the AlgoMatrix up here. So I want you guys to pay attention to what the AlgoMatrix is telling us as this trade progresses, because again, there's always going to be things that are against you, folks. There always is going to be something on your chart that is going to say, hey, you know, this isn't the same direction as either our trend or our bias or our direction or even our setup on our entry setup. Okay, but that we are adding confluence and we are adding up our numbers, right? We want a few things in our direction and then we take a shot, and we have stats on our side, and we're going to be looking for a profit factor of 2 to 2.7 for our trades. Now, so we play out that edge over time, but let's talk about this specific trade right here. I do want to point out that, wow, did we call the high in the markets here today on that Cypher Shark? Yeah, that was a beauty. And I'm a beast. And move this over just slightly. Are you seeing the continuation of that with our red dot right on the timing lines as well as we continue down today? Amazing, amazing plays there all day. And I'm going to show you guys results from our room if you guys stay till the end of this. But let's talk about this trade. So this is a very simple, straightforward. If you're just zooming into what he took the trade in here on, this is a double dot. But he was concerned. He was like, well, I succeeded on this trade, but was this valid for me to take? Because it worked out great. But he said, what about the MACV coloring over here was clearly mostly green. Yes, we had shifted red, right? Which is a good, you know, it's a key sign. And yes, this double dot was in the gray. So his questions were, this was in the gray area, and he had the MACV solidly green, which of course you can all see because there's this nice little move up here. But in context, if you zoom this out, you'll actually see that we are actually in a nice downtrend. Now, how can the AlgoMatrix help you out with this? So people have asked, you know, how can I use the AlgoMatrix? So I thought this is a great opportunity, as this student asked this, that first of all, yes, this is a great play, on top of the fact that it's not just a double dot play right here. He had a double dot multi-confluence on time frame. This is not just one, but two separate time frames. He had this double dot coming in on, and he had king timing coming in for it as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a great setup, okay, without anything else. But he wants to ask, what about this? How did we deal with this? Well, I want to show something else that I've told you guys before, but really zooming in on that AlgoMatrix. Now, you don't have to pay attention to this too much. This is for usually the people that have a single screen setup, because normally you're already going to be able to see this if you are using our standard layouts. Sorry, my zoom thing is all jacked. There we go. On the AlgoMatrix videos, I am telling you to look on the left and the right here. Let's go to change this to yellow and make it a little bit smaller with my circle. Here we go, about the same size. So this brick here and this brick right here, very important. And oftentimes you'll see me draw it like this. I'm looking for left side, and the far two can also be included. But look at this far left-hand side. If you did not have your 89 range, which is, you know, our big picture. If people aren't on time charts, which I don't recommend using time charts, anything that has day, week, hour, minute, any of that stuff, it's bad, folks. That's where most retail traders, they go to die, and they're all using minute charts. That's why 95% of them are failing. And if you don't have the 89 though, because you can't get in your range, in your vision area, because you've got a small screen, or you don't have a multi-screen layout, or you didn't get the 4K monitor that I told you guys to get, whatever your reason is, you don't have the 89. You know, we have doctors who are trading in hospitals off on-site rooms, and those guys got one screen setups with their tablets and stuff like that. There are exceptions to that, which is why we created this tool to begin with, so that you could actually know what's going on with the 89. Think about what I just said right there. What's going on with the 89? What's our bias direction on the biggest time frame? It's right there on the far left. This is actually the biggest key right there. The big time frame is actually red. We are coming down on the biggest time frame. So if we get a big wave up and it starts coming crashing down, you can get some of the biggest moves out of it. And this is a key factor on this beautiful play that he had here, and could have held this for a pretty big play here if he had kind of keyed into, well, the big picture time frame is with me. He had that going with him, and he took the double dot setup. That's great, but I don't think he held it for very long, because he said he was nervous about holding it because of the MACV green, which again, if you are not trying to pick the big ones or anything like that, you're just trying to hit your target 1, target 2, that's great. And target 1, target 2 is great. This is not scalping, folks. That is 10 and 15 ticks. That is a multi-handle trade, and that is a great setup. But yes, this is one where if he was going to ask himself, could he hold it for a little bit longer? Right there, the far left-hand part of this on all time frames was showing him that the big picture was short, and so a short again, you know, against a MACV here is even going to be more likely, because that high time frame is working with him, and this could be that big play, could be the big turning point of the day, and this was a great play. So to answer all that question for him, yes, this is a great play. You took it quite well. You had all this, I love that you actually labeled it up, circled it up, and all that. He also had, he pointed out, he didn't have just the double dot entry. He had the king timing, MACV confluence. Now, I think he meant right here, when people are asking too, because they're asking about this question or on his picture and trying to give critiques. That's why I want to walk through this whole thing here tonight. Was the MACV confluence, what he meant was that the MACV over here, that he had the MACV chart, not the actual MACV with him, because they're like, wait a minute, why is he saying MACV confluence? He didn't have the MACV with him. Good call, good play. Yes, it had barely shifted over, but he was talking about he had the double dot over here, not just on the one. So it's a great play, and it worked out very, very well for him, but he was asking about it and wanted some more details, so we took the time and opportunity to do that right here. We also had the break, if you're looking for a breaker play, right? So we got the break of the green dot on a large timing. That's awesome. Now what he doesn't have the delta. I would say if he was going to add one more thing to it, again, these are for the folks who have the NinjaTrader Lifetime right now, which, by the way, we are working on. I'm going to knock on wood here. It's not fully finished and fleshed out yet, but we may have it in the works to be able to have the full Flowmaster Delta flagging system, to have it for non-lifetime members. We are working on it. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's a lot easier for us to use. We're layering on top of what they've already got, but we are trying to recreate what they've got in the lifetime version of NinjaTrader and reproduce that so that you guys can have it without having to purchase lifetime on NinjaTrader. Although there are advantages, again, you can get commissions lower. I think that's the biggest one on that lifetime thing. So actually that's it. That's the only advantage that I can see with having lifetime now on NinjaTrader, is because if you're using the NinjaTrader broker, you're gonna get those discounts on their commissions, all right? So that was a great play. Wanted to cover that here tonight. Got a few more things in the announcement section that I told you guys we would talk about in the video. So another thing, folks, NinjaTrader acquires Tradeovate. Oh, ding, ding, ding. What's that? Yeah, Tradeovate. How about that? What are all those turds that are always talking about, oh, I use Tradeovate and I use TradingView and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, well, Tradeovate has been taken over by NinjaTrader. Folks, NinjaTrader's taken over the world. You guys are eventually going to figure out that NinjaTrader is the best platform in the world. If you don't know it, you will be forced to the mercies that I have been telling you guys for years, that these guys know what they're doing and they are the best. They just acquired Tradeovate. And if you don't understand how big of a move that is, I don't know what to tell you. But it's coming. That's all I got to say. Amazing, amazing stuff. Now, oops, hit the wrong button there. Let's come back to our training window there. All right, so that was a huge announcement there. And then let's come on down here. Someone asked about what are the 100K days list? So if you're looking at the list on the left-hand side of our Discord and like, what's this 100K days thing? So these are potential 100K play days. Now, why do I have this? This is actually personally for me, okay? The 100K room is my personal goal set room, okay? I'm not trying to tell people, oh, you need to target 100K in a single day or anything like that. This is my playroom, okay? When I need to practice for me, there are some things in my life. I've got a few things on my bucket list, and one of them is to have a six-figure day. I've never had a six-figure day. Most I've ever made in a single day was $58,000, and that was during a Brexit event. And you know, there was a lot going on with that added to that. But that 58K day it wasn't 100K. So what I have always said, you know, I mean, a lot of these guys are fakes and frauds. I've seen a lot of people on, you know, like, oh, I saw this guy make 100K. I saw Ross Cameron make 200K. And like these guys that make these six figures and they're just like, oh, it's easy breezy, whatever. Well, it's a little bit more difficult in futures because of sizing. Sizing is not, we're not driving the Titanic around here. We're riding Sea-Doos and hopping waves, and you know, that's how we play. So in order to hit 100K day, you really have to have some movement. And again, we do have days where we've got lots of movement, VIX up, ticks up. So what I want to, in order to be able to pull a 100K day, I'm gonna either need two things. I either need a big run day where I've got enough movement in the day that I can take my play inside of it, right? Or that I've got a high enough VIX that I can play it in both directions and get some size going on it where I'm trading inside of the ES, where I'm getting paid my double, right? Double for your trouble, etc. So now, so what's up with a 100K day room? Well, these are days that I mark out that I'm like, wow, look at the movement on this type of day. If I am mentally prepared for that day, ready to go in and go to that size, to push it, this is the day that gives me that opportunity. So I have grouped them together so that when I practice those in market replay, think about what I just said. For market replay, they are market replay days that I want to kill, right? That I want to practice. Market replay days to practice. Right? And you guys should have some of these too. I told you guys, like if you on the left-hand side, we have candy days and we have hard days, right? That's the two groupings. But I also have this huge, you know, for me, my personal goals, that 100K. I've never had 100K in a day, and I want it, right? So if you want to practice some of those 100K days to see like those big movement days where I'm like, oh man, that's a perfect day. Look at that. It's got a J hook in the center of the day right there at, not really the center, but in between that 11 to 12 noon where I'm already looking for a beast mode play, plays out the J hook. I've already drawn this out in my mind. It's called vision boarding, right? So it's between 10:45 and noon, right, in the beast mode hour, right, in the beast mode, enter in and then ride the position the rest of the day, oftentimes going to be off of the trap move, the J hook play, and then the move, okay? And that to be able to ride this beast so large and ride it all the way through 3 targets, and to be able to hit 100K. So that's my plan. It's my vision boarding tool for practicing those, and it gives me these days with market replay where I can get enough of that action so that I can practice it, put it in my head. You will not achieve something you have not done before, folks. If you have not practiced for it, you're not going to hit it. It's like going to, if you're going to hit curveballs, you better go to the batting practice, hit those, go to the batting cages and practice curveballs. So if I want to hit 100K day, what do I got to do? I got to practice 100K days. Okay. So that's the answer to that one. So that's it for here tonight. But tomorrow, I want to show you guys who's driving the bus. Folks, this is a very cool podcast. I'm not a big Tasty Trade fan. I know from their technology standpoint, these were the guys who literally originally created Thinkorswim, which got bought out by TD Ameritrade, and then they went back and created another platform. That's where you got the Tasty Trade stuff for all the options and whatnot. They also do futures, but I don't think that they're great. They're not great traders. You know, they talk a lot, talk, not a lot of walk. In my personal opinion, I don't advocate for you guys like following these guys and watching all this, but I do watch when they have important people on that I do want to hear. This guy, man, this brings back some memories for me. Like when I first came into the industry, watching this guy on CNBC pretty much every day when I was following the stock stuff on Fast Money. If anybody ever watched that show, CNBC, Fast Money, I don't even know if it's on anymore because I pretty much never watch any financial shows because I eventually learned that this is not good. But this guy always had a head on his shoulders, and I love the way that he challenged I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right, Sosnoff, I never really say the guy's name right, but Sosnoff and Radigan, this guy's name is Radigan, and it's his last name, and he really brought some good challenging stuff here, and the conversation around these two guys, I want to talk about this tomorrow. It is talking about technology and how we have the advantages. They were talking about, kind of debating back and forth on whether or not retail traders have advantages now versus institutional buying, and they've got some really interesting points, and I want to run through the whole thing and take an entire 30 minutes to go through this and listen to it and talk about it and how it applies and how AlgoBox fits into this big puzzle. Yes, we have been offered by multiple hedge funds. We have offered to buy us out, and I have always told them no. But you guys, you know, some people are skeptics about that, and I think you guys are going to hear something a little bit different when you got Radigan and some of the other guys from CNBC from back in the day that are literally having this conversation around the retail versus institutional mindset and how a lot of things have changed over the last couple of years. Particularly, what is the huge one from last year is when they eliminated commissions on stocks. That's a huge change. They talk about that. Great little conversation right here. If you guys want to get ahead of the game, I'll drop the video right here. But if you guys want to come on Friday and hear my take on it as I listen to these guys and talk to you guys through this entire conversation, this is a great one. And if you want to subscribe to these guys and listen to some of their stuff, that's great too, but don't get too lost in this stuff. Be very, very careful. A lot of the information that they're giving you ain't applying anymore, and AlgoBox is going to kick some tail, and you know what I'm saying. But anyway, if you're a Tasty Trader and you want to come over here and hang out and check out some really awesome tool sets, because that's actually what they're talking about. They're saying that the technology is now available in the hands of retail places, which is this right here. This turning the market into a video game where a person with a small account can now navigate the waters faster, bigger, better, and just basically better than all of the institutional money at a high time frame, because they can't move on the internals like we can, right? Anyhow, if you guys want to debate me about it, come on Friday and I will have a live session on that. I think we're gonna do live. On Friday. That's gonna be tomorrow. So come hang out for us on that. Thanks for hanging out here with me tonight. Hopefully you guys got something. Appreciate who put that in for that screenshot. This was one of the ex-ICT students, Scott. It was Scott. I won't say last name there, but Mr. Scott posted this for us, and he is ex-ICT, and he is loving being here, and he is smashing it, and so proud of all you guys who have joined with us, who are smashing it, who are exposing ICT and the entire fraud network. If you see anyone promoting ICT, folks, put a giant red flag up. That guy and that person is probably part of the ICT fraud network. They resell this stuff because ICT puts out this mystical thing. It's impossible to really know what's going on over there, but people keep talking about how he made money back in 2016 and 2017 with that fake $5.8 million run that he ran on MetaTrader 4. All that stuff is a fraud, folks. Everything about ICT is a fraud. And folks, his little shack out there in Maryland can fit in my garage. I am done with the whole thing. I am sick of it. You guys go share it with someone else. Save somebody else from the ICT fraud network. And I will catch you guys on Friday in just, 12 hours from now? I can't wait. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis, G, and the rest of the gang. Let's send out that big touchdown. See ya!